So for that, we all need to have some workspace, right? So if you are having Azure subscription, then well and good. You can have your Azure Databricks, or else you can have your community edition of your Databricks. Okay. So as I said earlier, community edition of Databricks is free. You can use that for lifetime. You can have your notebooks, everything there. But the only thing is you will have only single node there. Okay. The cluster we discussed last week, right? So here you will get only one node that will itself act as a driver node, and that will itself act as a worker node as well. Okay. So I have my community edition with me. So today we are going to practice some code in that. Okay. But I will request someone to share your screen and try logging into that, means signing up into the community edition. Because last week when Dinesh tried, it was throwing some error. I'm going to paste the link in the chat window. So this is the link. Can someone share your screen and try signing up in this community edition? I will guide you, because this is mandatory for this session, since we are going to practice some PySpark commands.
Harun, can I share my screen?
Yes, Riaz, please.
It's asking for a user ID and password.
Yeah, you need to sign up. In the below you have this, new to Databricks. Click on sign up.
I already had a profile for Mr. Cooper ID, but
no, that will not work here because that is a paid one. No need to give that.
So guys, Ravi also, Riaz has shared his screen. You will see that in the attendee section. You have to pin that screen. Or Harun, you can unshare your screen. So Harun's screen, Riaz's screen will open up by default. Yeah.
Don't click on any cloud services. If you scroll down, you will have that get started with community edition. That is very important. Don't go with any cloud services there, because that will give you a trial version only. Click on that get start with community edition. Yeah, exactly that one.
Okay. So I think it's loading.
No, I think it will load. It will load. Yeah, you will get an email now. Check your email and create a password for yourself in your whatever the Gmail you've given. There you will get an email.
Okay, Gmail will not open in.
Okay, you can open in your mobile, and you can just click on the link and create a new password for your ID, and come here again and put the username and password. It will log in. Meanwhile, please others also try to sign up here and the link provided in the chat window. Is anyone having this community edition already with you? Can you please let me know by raising your hand in the chat?
Spinning up now, Harun. Sachin here.
Yeah, hi Sachin, how are you?
Hi, good man.
Yeah, it will create an account for you. Yeah, so you got the community edition now. You got the workspace. I will guide you how to navigate in this workspace and what are all things will be here. It will not ask you anything like it will not say that it's a trial version or you need to sign up with any cloud. we can use this directly. Thanks, Riyaz. Thanks for sharing your screen. And others can also try to sign up with this community edition and get your credentials and log in here. Yes, you can stop sharing your screen. Maybe we'll wait for another 2 minutes so that everyone will have their community edition. Then I will guide you how to navigate that workspace.
Sure, Harun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
So anyone also trying? I think everybody is trying. Okay, can you please repeat once? Nitya, can you share your screen and try on the go? Arun can guide. Okay, thanks, sir. Thanks for the update. And you can just update once you people have got the community edition created.
Yeah, Nitya, you can share your screen and we can guide you on how to get that community edition.
Okay.
Link. Okay, let me post the link again. Maybe you joined late.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible now. Yeah, click on that sign up button. New to Databricks sign up is there. Yeah, click on it. Provide your information over there, like first name, last name.
This part already completed last week. Should I give it?
Try it again now. We'll see. Did you create a password last week? Created, right?
Yes.
Okay, then go to the other tab, the login tab, and try logging with your credential. If you already created, means the username and password you can give. Once you reset the password and login, it will navigate to the same page of what Riyaz has shown, Nitya. Okay. Yes. I hope everyone created your Databricks community edition account now. Okay, so I think I can start sharing my screen and show you things. Anyone having any issues in logging into that community edition portal? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So I hope everyone is in this screen. So this is the community edition. And if you're having Azure subscription, it will also look similar to this, but some features will be available in Azure Databricks, like the workflows. Inside the workflows, you will have additional features, but here it won't be there. I will show you that side by side. Now I'm opening the Azure Databricks, which is a paid one, so that we can see the difference between those two. So this is my Azure Databricks workspace. Here you can see the logo will be there as a Microsoft Azure, but in the community edition that won't be there. And if you see the workspace, you can see the repos additionally here, but in community edition you won't have that repos functionality. Okay, and in compute, if I go here, I will have a lot of options for the cluster. last week we discussed, right? The difference, the basic difference we discussed with the help of this cluster only last week. So for example, in paid version, that is Azure Databricks, if I go here, I can create the cluster with different worker types with a number of workers. Like for example, I can go with worker 228 or 2200 also based on my workload. But if I come to the community edition and if I go to the compute,
Arun, can you just maximize to 125%?
yeah, sure. Is it fine now?
I think 125 will do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but if you see in the community edition, you won't get that options. It will just ask for the cluster name, and here you can see only one driver they will give and 0 workers. Okay, but in Spark, what we saw, Spark is a parallel processing. It will split the work. The driver will split the work and give it to the worker nodes, and the worker will complete the work and report to the driver, right? But here only one driver is there. That means this driver itself will perform the task. Okay. So that is the one. It is not a disadvantage. Actually, this is a free service, so they are giving it as a single node cluster. Okay. So here I'm going to create one cluster in the community edition. Just I'm going to give it as my cluster. This will create a single node cluster for me. You also can create this cluster from your end. It might take a few seconds to minutes. Okay. And if you see here, this one, right? If you're not going to use this cluster for 2 hours, that means if you're not going to execute any command for 2 hours, this cluster will terminate automatically. Okay. Why? Because this is a free service they are providing, and cluster up and running means it is costing them, right? So they don't want to make this cluster up and running all the time. If you are not going to use this cluster for 2 hours in a stretch, they will terminate the cluster automatically. But here, if I go to the Azure Databricks, here we'll have this terminate after option. If you disable this, this cluster will not terminate itself. Okay. But if you enable this and if you give the time here, for example, 120 minutes, if I want 30 minutes, if I give 30 minutes here, for 30 minutes, it will check whether I'm doing any activity using this cluster or not. If I'm not going to perform any activities, this cluster will terminate automatically. Okay. So this terminate after option is available in the Azure Databricks, as well as this enable auto scaling. So what is this enable auto scaling? I will tell in a simple term. For example, here I'm going to disable this. Okay. So if you see here, the worker nodes came to a fixed notation here. I can give 2 worker nodes or 10 worker nodes like that. Okay. That means all the time I will be having a 10 worker node. Okay. But some cases, I don't want 10 worker nodes working for me all the time, because sometime I might get a data set which is not going to consume all the 10 worker nodes. 3 worker node itself enough. At the time, 7 worker nodes will be sitting idle, right? I don't want to face that situation. So in that case, I can enable this auto scaling and I can say 2 to 8. So in that case, what will happen? If my data set is very less in size, only 2 worker node will be working on it. Okay. So if my data set is increasing or if my load is increasing, then 4 worker nodes will be in working state. Okay. So it will not consume the other 4 worker nodes. Okay. So in that case, this auto scaling will help us. So if you want, you can enable this auto scaling and you can provide the minimum and the maximum worker nodes. Based on the number of worker nodes performing the activities, the cost will incur. Okay. So that is the option provided in the Azure Databricks. Along with that, you can choose the worker types also. For example, the executor node should be 14 GB memory and 4 cores, or if your workload is heavy, you can go with 56 GB memory, 16 cores. It all depends on what kind of workload you are going to do. Okay. Even the driver type also you can change. Okay. But in community edition, everything is fixed, only one driver node. Okay. That is community edition. But yeah, so these things we don't need to worry about now, because we are going to practice everything in community edition, and these are all project specific. Okay. For each and every project, for each and every data pipeline, it might vary. Okay. So now you all can start your cluster. Meanwhile, I'm going to share one link, which is going to have some sample files to perform the PySpark commands. Okay. I have shared the link in the chat window. Kindly download those 3 files and keep it in your machine. That is your download path or wherever in your system. Let me know if you can able to download from that link or not. Okay. I request you all to create your cluster and download the file from the link provided. Any doubts still here? The difference between that Azure Databricks cluster and the Community Edition cluster, what we are starting now? Any doubts or queries? And thanks, Pawan, for the confirmation. So once the cluster is up and running, I will start with the PySpark command. Meanwhile, I will give the overview about this workspace. So this is the workspace, and inside the workspace, you can create your folders. Okay. If it is an organizational, then organizational workspace, you will have all the users listed here. Okay, for example, you are working in a project, and this entire Databricks workspace has been shared with the Azure Active Directory user group, means that you can be able to see all the users listed here. So you can able to see what are the notebooks they are having as well. Currently, I am having only one user here, that is my name. So I can go inside my username. I can create folders. Inside the folders, I can create the notebooks. For example, I am going to create a folder now. I'm going to name it as ADB Workshop. So inside this folder, I'm going to create a notebook. I'm going to say this as my first notebook. So the default language here itself, it will ask like whether we want to go with the Python, SQL, Scala, or R. I'm going with the Python. You can change this anytime. After creating the notebook also, inside the notebook, you can go and change this notebook wise or cell wise. We will see how to change those things. And cluster, we need to attach this notebook to some cluster. We need some computing unit, right? So this cluster is the computing unit. Now my cluster is starting. So I'm attaching this cluster to my notebook and I'm creating this notebook.
Harun, can we give a pause, because there are a lot of options in create, so that let people.
Yeah.
So first, Harun has created a folder in the name of ADB_workshop, and then within that folder, Harun has created a Python notebook. Are you able to?
You're unable to follow, or you want me to repeat it again?
Harun, what is the folder name?
Anything you can give, yes. Like you can able to see your username here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, under your username, you can create any folder you want. I just created it as ADB Workshop. You can create whatever you want. You can just give some name for identification. So inside the folder, you can create a notebook. It's not mandatory to create a folder also. You can create a notebook under your username also. But just for organizing, I'm creating a folder and putting my notebook inside that folder.
For notebook, we are using Python as a default language.
Yes, default language is Python.
Okay.
We can change that anytime.
Okay.
Okay. Home codes as repeat, please. Yeah. So what we are doing here is we are creating a notebook, our first notebook here. So this is our workspace. In the workspace, you can able to see the shared and users. Under the users, you will find your username. Okay, go inside your username and start create your notebook. You can create a notebook directly or create a folder first, just for organization purpose only. Create a note folder. Okay. After creating the folder, go inside the folder. For example, I created the folder as ADB Workshop. Go inside the folder, then create a notebook. Click on create, click on notebook. It will ask for the name. It will ask for the language. You can go with any language you want. I'm going with Python. And you can select the cluster that you started. Even you forgot to create a cluster also, no need to worry. You can simply start without having anything here. But now I started a cluster, so I'm attaching that cluster here. And I created this notebook. Okay, this is my notebook now. So meanwhile, what happened? My cluster also got started. Here you can see my cluster, and this green dot represents my cluster is up and running. If it is grayed out, means it got terminated. Okay. If you want to confirm it more.
Sorry, Harun. Yes, I understand that following up remotely as a workshop is challenging because you have to switch between tabs. Maybe try having both the tabs side by side if you are not having an additional monitor, or just give a raise the hand. Okay, so we will give a stop, and we will check whether you have followed it, and then we will proceed. Yeah, sorry, Harun.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, they need to switch between screens and follow it. Right? Sorry, I will go slow, at least for this basic infra setup. So I went to this compute, and here I am seeing my cluster is running. Okay, this is the status of my cluster. So you all please confirm by raising your hands that your cluster is up and running and you created your first notebook.
Harun, how to navigate to compute?
If you hover your mouse to the left side, you will that pane will open. There you can click on compute.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Harun.
Welcome. So once you created your notebook and once your cluster is up and running, let me know by raising your hands. So this is a basic infra setup that we are doing. We are just creating our first cluster and we are creating our first notebook. That's it. Maybe we'll spend another 3 minutes. Meanwhile, everyone can complete your infra setup. By 7:30 p.m. IST, we will start with the next step.
Yes, Pawan. Pawan has raised the hand.
So I think he might have completed the step.
Yeah, I actually completed the notebook. By the way, I just had a question actually, if it's not a problem. I did not attend the first session for this thing. So may I know what are the languages that are supported for this notebook?
So I showed here, right? Like it supports Python, SQL, Scala, and R. These are the 4 languages supports.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So meanwhile, you can download that file and keep. Yes.
Sachin here. So just one question. We have created the cluster with the latest version, right? The runtime version, Databricks version. So when we talk about the backward compatibility, let's say there is a existing project, then we are scaling up that project to a different version, right? So how does it work? Like maybe it will be a very progressive question, but just curious to understand.
So backward compatibility in Databricks, for example, if you are using any new Datalake features, it might not support the backward compatibility because mostly the Python codes and all supports. But the features like Datalake, it is not going to support. We need to upgrade to the newer version of the cluster.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
So that is kind of maybe I can say advanced question what Sachin asked now. Maybe you will all get to know that in our upcoming sessions, what is that backward compatibility, why he is concerned about coming back to a previous version of the cluster and all. Maybe in an upcoming sessions, we will discuss that in depth. So I hope everyone might have created your cluster, you have created your first notebook, and downloaded those 3 sample files with you. Shall we proceed to the next step? Thanks for confirmation. So before moving here, I just want to say one thing to you all. Like for every project, we will be having a storage. Okay, our data will be sitting somewhere, and we are going to fetch the data. We are going to write some transformation. That transformation where we are going to write, we are going to write it in our notebook. So this is the notebook. So in this notebook only, we are going to write our transformation codes. Okay, but the data needs to be stored somewhere. Okay, so here in Databricks, we are not going to store any data. Okay, where we are going to store our data with our cloud providers. For example, if you are using Azure Databricks, you are going to store your data in Azure. Okay. If it is AWS, you are going to save it in AWS buckets. GCP means GCP storage. Okay. But this is a community edition. Then how we are going to store our data? So here itself we are having a DBFS, that is a Databricks file system. Then we can save our files and we can process it. But in actual real time, where we will store our data is, we will store our data in Azure Datalake storage account Gen 2, okay, or Azure Blob Storage. There we will store our data. Then we need to mount the storage account with our Databricks. That is the first step of any project. Okay, that means in real-time project, the first step, that is a one-time setup. What we will do is we will mount the storage with our DBFS. Once you mounted that, what will happen? Always that whatever the files or folders you are maintaining in that Azure Datalake storage account will be available in your DBFS also. So I will show you what is DBFS. If you go to the data tab, the left side, if you go to data tab and if you click on create table, here, since this is a community edition, they have integrated with Amazon only, directly Amazon AWS. So here you are seeing that S3 and other data sources. But when you are using Azure Databricks or AWS or GCP, there you will see the respective the storages here. Okay. Since we don't have that Azure or AWS now, we are going to directly upload our files to DBFS directly. Okay. So if you go to the data and click on create table, you will have an option called upload file. Okay. So we are going to save our file in this DBFS only now. Okay. But have it this in your mind, like it is a real-time project, means you will have your data in your respective cloud storage and you need to perform a mounting first. Okay. So to perform the mounting, there is a simple command available. I will just show you the command. Let me paste the command here. So I will explain this command as well so that you will get to know. So this is the command for mounting. Okay. So what is mounting? You are going to mount your Azure Datalake storage account with your DBFS. So here you need to provide your source path. This is the storage account. Okay. For example, this is my storage account name, and this is my container. I will show you what is storage account and container. So this is Azure's portal, and if I go to the storage accounts, here you can create your storage account. Okay, simply like how you create your OneDrive or your Google Drive paths, right? Like that, you can create your storage accounts here. So inside that storage account, you can create containers called folders you can create. For example, this is my storage account. Loading. But we are not going to mount it now because we are working on the community edition, but I'm just giving you an idea what is mounting and why we need to do that mounting. This is my Datalake storage account Gen 2. And here I can create containers. Okay, I have an input container like that. I can create some text containers, and inside the container I can have my data. Okay, for example, if you're working for a client and the client is getting data from SQL Server or any third-party vendors, they can push the file inside this container. Okay, so now our data will be available inside this input container. For example, see here, I have uploaded whatever the file that I sent you, right? I have uploaded those files here as well. So I can access the files directly from the storage account. But there should be some gateway between the storage account and the Databricks, right? That is this code. This mounting code will do that. So here I will provide that storage account name and the container name. Okay, and this is a link for the entire storage account. Okay, and mount point. What is the mount point that I want to create in this DBFS? So inside this DBFS, that means inside the Databricks file system, I need to create /mnt, and I need to just create a folder input. This is just for our identification. You can give whatever name you want as a mount point. And this configuration. So this configuration, you need to give the key. So for example, for this storage account, you can create a keys. For example, here you will have access keys. Okay, so you can copy this key and you can have a key vault in Azure, or you can directly use this key. This is just a key. Okay, you can directly use this key, but due to some security constraints, you should not reveal this key. You should not reveal this key to anyone. Okay, so for this, what we will do in Azure, we will put this key inside a key vault. So that key vault, it will have a name. Okay, that name we can use it here. Okay, I'm using that name here. ADB scope is my key. ADB key is my key name. Okay, and I will be creating a scope. Okay, scope is nothing but in Databricks, I will be creating a scope by giving that key name and the key configuration. So that scope name I will give here, and this is a just a simple string only. Here you need to provide your storage account name. That's it. So this is a simple step. Once you modified all your storage account name and the keys and scope value, once you execute this, what will happen? This storage account, this entire storage account and the content of the storage account will get mounted to this Databricks workspace. So once you mounted this, from next, what you can do is you can start fetching those files from the storage account directly. It might look complicated, but it is simply to point to that storage account and get the file from it. That's it. I'm going to share one simple blog which explains this mounting step by step. If you are equipped with Azure subscription, if you go through that blog, you will get to know how to do that mounting step by step. Any doubt in this mounting part, whatever we discussed now? That's a simple step, but it might look complicated. Any doubt in that?
But we don't want to mount in this.
Yeah, we don't need to mount here because we are going to use the community edition. We don't need to mount because we will not have that Azure storage account subscription with us. So I have shared that one link with the blog link where I have clearly explained how to mount this Azure storage account with the Databricks workspace, Azure Databricks workspace. If you are using Azure Databricks, then you can try that. Okay, but now we are not going to do this, but just an idea I gave it to you. So now what we are going to do, we are going to upload the file directly. How? I'm going inside the data tab and click on create table. In this upload file, I'm going to upload my files. You also can upload your 3 files in this data tab. So it will get uploaded inside the folder called file store. Inside tables, your files will get uploaded. So we are going to perform transformation over this files only. Specifically, I'm going to perform the transformation over this zip codes files. I'm going to show you the basic commands. Later on, you can practice the commands over the other 2 files. Okay. Whenever you are having time, you can practice in those 2 files. And so now all my files got uploaded. Now this is the file path for me. Okay. So you will also get your respective file paths, or you can again go to that create table, and then you can see your files as well. Okay. Any doubt till here? Uploading the file.
Even after uploading, I couldn't see the tables in the data. The database is empty.
Arun, after uploading, it is showing 2 options: create table with user interface or create table in notebook. Which one we need to select, Arun?
No need to click anything there. After uploading, it is fine. It got uploaded there. It should show here actually. That's fine. Once you uploaded, it will get uploaded in this file store tables. Okay, we can get the file. Like, they change the UI. It's in the previously it will list out all the files whatever we uploaded here, but they remove that option here to see the whatever files we uploaded. Once uploaded, that is fine. Yes, you can leave as it is. Then come to your notebook. Now what we are going to do is we are going to read our file from the notebook with the help of the code only. Okay. So everyone completed till uploading your files to that DBFS. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read that file. Okay, so for that I'm going to start. My cluster is up and running, and my notebook is Python notebook. I'm going to write a command here. So simply you can write whatever command you want. The Python commands, for example, print hello world. Also you can write, because this is a Python notebook that you created, right? So this will also execute. So we are going to write our own codes to process that file now. Okay. So this is any Python commands you can execute now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create means I'm going to read the file and push it into a data frame. I'm going to call it as new BF. I'm going to write a command called read command, that is a spark.read.option. I will be sharing this command with you all. Okay, maybe after the end of the session, I'll be sharing this entire notebook also. So no need to worry. If you can able to follow now, you can follow it, and you can write this command. Okay, spark.read.csv, because whatever the file we uploaded is a CSV file. So where that file got located, it got located under the file store /tables/ and what the file we uploaded, it is zipcodes.csv. Okay, so this is the location of the file. So I'm going to say spark.read.csv. This is the format of the file, and this is like the syntax to read the file. Spark.read.csv. I'm giving the path here. So now I'm going to read the entire file and put it inside the data frame. I'm just going to execute this. To execute this cell alone, you can go here and click on run cell, or you can click shift and enter. This will execute this particular cell. Path does not exist. Install variables.
I think you have to reverse the slash.
No, here it will. Let me check. Maybe I will again upload my file once again.
No. The table's case sensitive T is small.
I changed that. Maybe I will copy the path from here. Since I uploaded already the zip codes again and again, it is taking zip codes -4. But for you, it will be zip codes.csv only. I'm going to my notebook. Now I'm reading the file and putting inside the data frame. So now it got completed. Now I'm going to see what is inside the data frame. So this display command will help us to see what is inside the data frame. You can see the actual data, but can anyone tell me what is the thing you are seeing here, which is abnormal? Something is abnormal here, right?
Column names.
Yeah, column names are coming as a default, and the column name is coming somewhere here. See, it is coming as a record. It is coming as a row. It is not coming as a exact column name. So for that, what we need to do is we need to read this file with the proper options. Okay. So what is the proper option? Let me write another code here. Let me put it as another data frame for understanding. So before reading this, what you need to say is you need to say option, and here you need to put it as the option as header true. So we know that that is a header, and that a header should come. So if you say header true, now what will happen is this will come with the proper header. Now the header is coming properly, and you can able to see the data here. But now also there is an issue with this particular data frame. What is that is? If I show you the schema of this data frame, you will come to know that. For example, I'm going to print the schema. For that, I need to say data frame dot print schema. Okay. Now, by seeing this schema, tell me what is the abnormality you are seeing. Any idea? The record
Data type.
Data type is an abnormality here because everything is coming as a string. So whenever you are going to read some CSV file in this Databricks, right, everything will come it as a string data type only. So it might look fine now, okay, it might look fine now, but when you will face a difficulty, when you will face an issue actually, when you are going to perform some aggregations or some calculations, for example, here you are having this tax return file and total wages. That time you will face an issue when you are going to perform some calculation. This is a string, this is a string. That time you will face an issue, data type issue, right? So what we need to do is we need to read this data frame properly when we are reading itself. So for that, what we need to do, we need to include one more option, that is infer schema. I'll tell you what is that infer schema means. Infer schema, I need to say true. If I display it now, visually you will not see any difference, but if you print the schema, you will see record number is coming as an integer, zip code is coming as integer, total wages as integer, tax returns as integer, and other namings and all string, these x-axis, y-axis and all double data type like that. Now the data type is proper, right? Can you able to see the difference?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. What is the command for new cell? New cell, if you execute the existing cell, automatically a new cell will come, or else you can click on this plus button. If you hover your mouse over the cell, the plus button will come here. You can click on that and you can create a new cells. Yeah. So now that is the difference between reading the file without options and reading the file with the option. These two options you can use. But what is the disadvantage of using this infer schema is now you will not face any difference. For example, now this is a very small file, and if you see here, it took 2.06 seconds to read this file. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, if you say infer schema, how it is knowing that this zip code type is a string and this zip code is a integer? How it is going to understand this? It is going to read the file twice, because one time when it is going to read this, it is actually reading it from the file, the folder structure, and the other time how it will read is it will read the not the full file. It will read, for example, for the zip code, it will read what is the first 100 records and what is the data type. For 100 records, it might be integer, so it will say that zip code is an integer. Okay, for city, for average 100 or 1000 records, it will go through and it will identify it is a string. Spark internally it will do when you say option infer schema is true. So what you are making is you are creating some overhead for the Spark to read the file again. That means to scan the file again. You are asking the Spark itself to do. So it will take some extra time. But now since the file is very small, it is giving you the output in 2.06 seconds. But when you are going to deal with the terabytes of data, okay, that time it will take some time to read the file and it will take some time to infer the schema. So it is not advisable to go with this infer schema in real-time projects. Then what we need to do? At that time, we need to create our own schema for this file. That we will call it as user-defined schema. Okay, so user-defined schema means as a developer, we will be creating a schema and we will say to this command, read the schema from the schema that I created and read this. Okay, I will show you how to do that. So for that, what we need to do is we need to know the metadata. For example, as a developer, we will know that, okay, this file is going to come, this zip code file is going to come, and this zip code file is going to have all these columns, and these are all the data type of the column you will get to know. Okay. So after getting all those information, you need to start writing a schema. You can say that any name you can give. I'm just giving us user-defined schema. So what we need to do is you need to say struct type. We need to write our own schema here. So here you need to provide your column name, record number. So this is a manual activity and this is a one-time activity. Definitely we need to do that. Okay. So you need to provide your column name and you need to mention what data type it should have. So for example, record number should be an integer. So we need to say integer type. Okay. And whether it should allow null values or not. It can allow null value. So I'm saying true. If you don't want this to a null value, you can say false. Okay. Like this, you need to put dot and add all the columns here. Okay. one by one you need to do that. For each and everything, we need to do this. Means each and everything in the sense, what are the columns that we want, we need to do this. And this is a one-time activity. Definitely we need to do this if you want to avoid the Spark to spend more time on inferring the schema. Okay. So I have already written this and kept. Let me get this and paste it here. See? So this is the schema that I created, UDS schema, struct type. So this is like there is some code in the next line. I am letting Databricks know that don't complete here. There is some code in the next line also. Just for organization purpose, I've kept like this. You can keep like this also. You can keep the same line also, but just for visualization, I kept like this. Yes, someone is having a question. So I have included all. Yes, Vipin.
So there is limited column here. Suppose this my file include more than 100 columns, so there is no an easy way to do this rather than
Easy
manually
way,
typing.
like usually what I will do is I will do the print schema here. Okay. So what I will do, I will go and write a infer schema true and read the file once, and I will get the schema like this. Okay. Then from here I will copy, put it in a notepad, and I will try to reorganize this as this. In the notepad, we can add all this add at that time. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is the only way. That is the only way. Okay. So yeah, as you asked, there is no other go. We need to write this as a one-time activity. We need to do that. Okay. So now I have created this. I am going to execute this now. Struct type. Okay, struct type is not defined because I didn't call that function. So I need to call that function first. So at the start of every notebook, we will call those functions. So this is the schema that I created. So now this schema is available, the name of variable UDS schema. So now I'm going back here. Let me open a new cell and copy the same. But this time what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use this option infer schema. Okay. Instead of that, I'm going to say schema. Inside that, I'm going to call my schema name, UDS schema. Okay. I already executed this UDS schema. So now I'm going to create a new data frame by saying read the schema from this UDS schema. See, now it got completed within 0.52 seconds. Previously, when I say infer schema, it took 2.06 seconds. But now, since I used my own schema, it took only 0.52 seconds. We saved around 1.5 seconds. Okay. For this data itself, we saved 1.5 seconds. If it is a terabytes of data, means we are going to save more time. Okay. Just a kind of simple optimization. It's not an optimization. It's a good way of writing, reading the file. Okay. So now I have read the file. So now if I go here, I can directly show you that schema is the only way to read it, but there are other ways also, like infer schema is there. Without infer schema also you can read it. Okay. So only I came from starting, but now you know what are the different methods to read, right? Without option, and with the option, and with the schema. So now this is my data frame, and it is having a proper data with proper data types with my own schema defined. Any doubt till here? Okay, so I think we have only 5 more minutes. I took a lot of time in explaining the Databricks Community Edition and other things. I will quickly show you some few commands, okay, so that you can start, you can practice. So this is a document that I prepared, okay. So this will have all the basic commands with the snapshot I attached. For example, let me show you one command. I will share this document with you maybe at the end of next session. Okay, we will discuss about this with column command. For example, you are having this data frame. Now your client is coming and saying that they want a new column. Okay, with combining both state and CT, they want a new column. So how to do that is, you can say the same data frame or the new data frame, you can say is equals to a data frame dot width column. So inside the width column, you can give a new name for your column. You can say address, okay? And in the address, now you need to concatenate these two. That is, you need to add this city and zip code, or city and zip code type. So for those kind of new column creation, you can go with this particular width column, okay? And for any aggregation also, for example, they want any calculation for it, they want the multiplication of the lat and long, okay? So for that also you can do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the name as new column, and I'm going to call the two columns and perform a addition. One column is lat, and I'm going to do addition. The other column is long. So in the new data frame, you will have a new column. See, because I gave it as a new column, the name itself as a new column. Instead of that, I can say lat long. Okay, I can say lat long. Now in the new data frame, you will have a new column called lat long. The lat long value will be the addition of these two columns. That is a latitude and longitude value. So like that, you can do the calculation, simple calculation, or you can concatenate the strings and keep a different column. So those kind of things you can do with the width column. Okay. So this is a basic one. So we didn't start at PySpark actually, but I hope you all are now clear with the Databricks workspace and how to read the basic file structure. Since we have only 1 hour, I couldn't able to cover the PySpark commands today. You all are okay with continuing this for next 10 minutes so that I can show you at least 5 basic commands. Okay, fine. So now we saw this width column, right? Next we will saw, okay, width column can also do other operations like, for example, I don't want this location type. I want it as a location. Then I can go with the width column, or I can go with width column renamed. I will show you what that width column renamed will do. Width column renamed will just rename it. Okay. For example, what you need to do is you need to pass 2 values always inside this width column or width column renamed. The first one is the old value. So now I'm going to pass the old value as location type. And the new value is, I'm going to just say it as a location. Here itself, I'm going to say new df.display. Now you can see this location type got renamed to location. See here, it got renamed to location. So like that, you can use width column renamed for just renaming the column, and you can use width column for creating a new column with the help of the existing column. Okay. Any doubt in this too? Width column and width column renamed?
No, Arun, we are good.
Okay. So these are the 2 basic commands. So next we have this. Okay. Let me go in the order of the document that I created itself, so that when you are going to go through that, it will help you. With column. Okay, next is a filtering. So in SQL, if you want to filter something from a table, what you will do, select start from table where column is equals to greater than, for example, zip code greater than 700, or zip code is equal to 704, like that we will give, right? Similarly, in PySpark also, we can do that. Okay, so how we can do that, we'll see now. Simply, we can say that the data frame, I will show you that once again. Yeah. So simply the data frame dot filter is the keyword, and you need to tell which column you want to filter and the value. Okay, let me show it here. Dot filter, and we need to mention which column you want to filter. Column of. Now I'm going with the zip code. I want to filter the zip codes of this value. I can directly put a display here. I'm not going to save this anywhere. Just I'm going to display this and see. Only these two records. If I want to know the records belong to 709 zip code, I can simply see like this. So this is filtering. Okay. Then sorting is there. So sorting. Yeah. So sorting. This is the syntax. The data frame dot sort, and you need to mention which column you want to sort and whether it is ascending or descending. So ascending by default, if you're not going to give anything, that will come it as ascending. If you want to make it as a descending, you need to say DESC. Okay. And if you want to do the sorting on multiple columns, you can sort it like this. Okay. You can put a comma and you can give the other column name, and you need to mention what kind of sorting you want. Okay. So sort and order by both serves the same purpose. But the name only differs. So sort and order by you can use. So I think this with column and sorting is enough for today. Maybe you can try with the uploading the files, creating a cluster, and reading the files for today's session, whatever we saw. You can try that. And from next session, we will go with the grouping by and other some complex transformations and all. Is it fine for you all?
Sure, Arun.
Sure.
Yes. Just have one doubt.
Yes.
Are you going to share this this notebook with us?
This notebook is not complete yet, right? We just read it. Yeah, if you want, I can share it.
Or just commands, whatever commands you have you took just in on Notepad file like that.
Yeah, I can. Dinesh, is there any way to share the link after this meeting in the meetup so that we can put that link? They can download that. Is that possible?
Yes, we can share. You just share
Okay.
Word document. I'll share it to the attendees. Like people,
Yeah.
if you haven't RSVP to the event, then do it. Then only then while I'm mailing, you'll be getting that.
Yeah, I will just prepare the notes, and maybe by today night or by tomorrow morning, you will get that notification from Dinesh. He will upload it in that meetup, and he will publish that as an email so that you can download that and you can practice it. I hope you all have that files with you, that zip code files. You can practice with that. Next session, we will practice with the Google files that I shared, right? Review files. That is a kind of 2 files. We will do joins, and we will do aggregations, everything over with that Google files and see.
Okay.
Yeah, Dinesh, we'll plan for the part 3 of the session maybe by end of this month or the starting of the next month based on the feedback we are going to get.
So guys, can we do part 3 and including Harun as well? Can we do the part 3 on Thursday, same time, next week, Thursday?
Sure, Dinesh, we can do it.
Okay, I'll stop the recording first and then go on.